for me. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very, very excited to have you here for our webinars. We've been having a lot of fun doing them over these past few weeks, having some great guests. If I've spoken to a couple of you in the chat from the chat already, saying it's your first time with us. If we have anybody returning, thank you so much for coming back. But those of you that are not familiar with me or Maker Maven, we started Maker Maven back in April of 2016, really to focus on helping our educators either get started, add to, or improve what they were doing with STEM or STEAM education. And at that time, the whole maker movement was really, pun partially intended, gaining a lot of steam in schools, so specifically in the libraries. And that's where we started Maker Maven back in 2016, to help our educators find and source all of these great products and how to get our students back to creating and building hands-on structures, coding and doing things creatively instead of just staring at a textbook all day. So I'd like to introduce myself. I am Matt Garcia. I am co-owner of Maker Maven along with my wife, Jamie. Like I said, we've been doing this since about 2016, but we've been working with schools for a lot longer than that, for about the past 11 or 12 years now. And also with us today, helping to moderate with the chat, is Brianna Kua. So she is our head of marketing and also social media. So all of those great tweets, STEM challenges that you see, if you're on our newsletter, all of those fun activities that you see, Brianna has her hand in all of that, and we can't thank her enough. So make sure you give her a follow on her Twitter handle there as well. So if you'll move to the next slide for me, Bri. All right, so there's a few housekeeping rules that I want to go over, before we get started and turn it over to Tim here. So we're encouraging this to be very interactive. So feel free to use the chat. If you see something cool during this presentation, let us know. Or if you see something that you're doing or how it can be tweaked for a classroom or what you're doing at a distance or hybrid learning, throw it in the chat. If you have any questions or anything that may require a little bit more in-depth analysis, specifics for your specific grade level, your specific class, or pricing questions or anything like that, we encourage you to use the Q&A setting there and pop those in, and we'll take some time to answer those more in-depth questions near the end. And for those of you that joined early enough, I did mention following us on social media at Maker_Maven. And the reason we want you to do that, we want you to be very active on social media while we do this as well today. So we're actually going to be doing some giveaways for a Q or a Dash robot. And we're going to be choosing the winners via activity on social media. So anybody that mentions us, tags us, takes screenshots or anything like that, Brianna's going to be monitoring our social media. And she's going to be taking all those names and be putting them in a random number generator type of program. So we're going to randomly select a winner from our Twitter mentions. So make sure you're tagging us at Maker_Maven and also Wonder Workshop, which is at Wonder Workshop, I believe. So if you would move to the next slide for me, please. So I would love to introduce our guest today from Wonder Workshop. So we have Tim Tomaso, the channel manager for Wonder Workshop. And I've been working with Tim for the past couple of years. We always have some great conversations, always run into each other at trade shows, where I know we meet a lot of our educators at trade shows, and sadly, those are not happening right now. So this is a great way for all of us to get in front of you to speak. So happy that Tim is here to help us today. He's going to teach us some great things. So without further ado, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, and let's see what you have for us today.
All right, thank you, Matt. Most appreciated. Okay, somebody else has got to release screen to me. There we go. Jump in here. Sorry, I got one click ahead of you, Bree. That was my fault. One click ahead. All right, so here it comes. No, we don't want to share it. We want to present it, silly. Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Tim from Wonder Workshop. That's me there, my Twitter handle and email address. I'm actually the channel development manager for Wonder Workshop. but I've been working with the company since, right around the day where Maker Maven got started, about 2016. I met Matt at, what was it, TCEA back in 2018, Dallas, Austin, wherever the heck we were. But right away, when I saw what they were doing, I knew we needed to be a part of it. So we've been working with the folks at Maker Maven ever since, and they do an awesome job. And I want to thank them, you as well, Bree, for hosting all this, putting this all together, and having me on. What we want to talk about today is fairly simple. Continuing your coding journey in a hybrid environment, what that's going to look like. When we first started putting this presentation together, back in February and March, things were pretty dicey about then. Schools were closing down. There were all kinds of crazy adjustments happening. Hybrid models were coming out. We were basically faced as a company at Wonder Workshop with, what are we supposed to do? Our robots are trapped in a classroom right now, and there are no kids in the classroom. So, we had a problem on our hands, and we needed a way to address it. And what we did as a company was pivot and adjust and have done some new things. And that's what I want to share with you today. But the general idea was that we faced the same circumstances you guys were facing. We have to find a way to work with the kids, whether they're in the building, out of the building, or in between in some sort of blended hybrid type of environment. So, as a company, this is what we were reacting to. So, what is it we can put together that's going to help these kids in the situation they're in currently? We knew as a company, we've got an awful lot of teachers and ex-teachers working at Wonder Workshop, our curriculum writers, a couple of our engineers are, everybody's a teacher at heart. And we all put our heads together and came up with a number of things that we felt whatever we pushed out to the kids at home was going to have to be. We were all witnessing our own children and students going back to a virtual type of environment where they were doing Zoom meetings and everything was being done for their Chromebooks and their laptops. So, we were witnessing that, we were watching that, we were wondering how were we supposed to get what we do into that environment. So we knew whatever it was we were going to put together was going to have to work both ways. Not only was it going to have to work at home, it was going to have to work at school as well. There couldn't be this big transition from one to the other that was going to be all complicated and difficult, because quite honestly, we didn't know how many students were going to be in the building at any given point in time or where they were going to be week to week. And again, this is talking back in March, but that situation has popped up again. It's a little chaotic around here in the Chicagoland area. Schools are closing left and right. So, we're back to where we basically were in the spring, where the solution that you come up with has got to work at home, in between, or in the building. Anywhere access. It couldn't be device orientated either. It had to be, internet. It had to be Wi-Fi. It had to be something where the kids could get to it no matter where they were. That was really important because in some cases, your tools are at school. Your robots might be at school. Your iPads might be at school. Your Chromebooks might be at school. So, the kids hopefully have a computer at home and an internet connection. That's what we were banking on. It had to be something that was going to hold the kids' attention. If you're familiar with our product line, and Matt and Bree will back me up on this, the Wonder Workshop products, Dash, Dot, Q, our robots have a wonderful way of gathering the kids' attention and holding it for extended periods of time. So we knew if we stayed in our lane, so to speak, with our curriculum writers and whatnot, that we would be able to hold our kids' attention. That's something we don't worry about. The teachers had to be able to track what they were doing, gauge performance, provide support. We built all that into the tools, which I'll share with you in a little while. And we had to incorporate the parents into this, quite honestly, knowing that they were home with their students, and in some cases being the teacher, at home makes things a little tricky for them. So, giving them some guidance and some solutions was going to be helpful as well. So, this is what we came up with under these given criteria that we were discussing, like I said, back in February and March. The first thing we launched were all these home toolkits, basically things you could do at home with the kids that you can send home as instructors, little projects that you can do. They're basically coding in content, but a lot of them are unplugged type of activities. walking around the room in a specific sequence, learning what a loop is like, you know, using your own body as a sensor when you see something to react to it and things like that. So, you know, some non-screen type of activities, not only for the teachers to push home, but for the parents to try at home as well. So this is a web page that we have linked. I can show you around a little bit later when we have some time, but there's a lot of good resources in here that are specifically designed to push out to the kids who are at home. So we call these the home learning toolkits. Like I said, go and explore. That's all free, and it's on our website, and it's not hard to find. If you did a search for it, it would probably pop up on Google. What we launched just prior to that, and I probably won't play I will play the video. I don't know, let's see how long it is. This is a 40-second video. Okay, we'll watch the video. I'm gonna hear this music in my sleep. The video is the music. I'm gonna hear that a lot. But the video, what it's basically explaining to you is what we've set up is a learning management system to track the students. It was our #1 request prior to COVID. It was our #1 request probably since about 2018. We have a set of puzzles and challenges built into our apps. The teachers wanted a way to track this. So that is what we provided them. So if I was to show you this, let me go to the portal here and log in. So a proper account with us, a proper subscription with us is going to give you access to all of our online tools. And these are the things that we put together in response to COVID. So what we're looking for first and foremost is the Blockly dashboard. What you're looking at here are my students on the left-hand side in my classroom and all of the puzzles that are built into the Blockly app that's free to download and you can use as long as you got your robots. This is basically tracking the students as they go through this. I have what is basically a classroom that I've set up here from my dashboard. So here's my room and here are my students. I can add multiple students through a CSV file if that's how I want to do it. If I have a large number of students, I can add a student, you know, one at a time here if I want to do that. I can share this classroom with somebody else who has a teacher subscription. Everything is based on this code up here that I've got. This is how I connect my devices as well. So if I have a student that I want to put into my classroom, I simply ask them to type this code in on their Blockly device when they log in. This will prompt a something on my dashboard to tell me that I've got a new student who's coming in. And when that student comes in, I'll be able to see their device as it comes in and okay it. And then I can put them into my classroom. And everything that the student does once they're in my classroom is being tracked here in the program. So as they go through each of the puzzles, I can see who's completed it with a green check mark, where they're headed next with the white box, or if they get stuck. And if a student gets stuck and they're in the classroom, well, that's pretty easy. You know, interrupting robot lesson 1 here is playing with the voice commands and learning to talk and get the robot to react to you speaking. If a student got stuck at that in the classroom, I would simply approach the student, talk them through, maybe go through a couple of simple exercises with them until they were unstuck. But if the student's at home, it makes things a little bit trickier. So what we did was we built our resources in here. So when I click on that particular student, interrupting robot challenge 1 of 3, I can see what it is they were supposed to be doing, right? He's supposed to speak and turn to my voice and then say knock, knock. They're doing the knock, knock joke at this point. What I'm seeing here is the solution that the student put together. In 2 minutes time, he came up with an improper sequence. Okay, probably pretty easy to address. If he only put 2 minutes in on it, you know, maybe it was the end of the day, he got called away, whatever the case may be. I could simply suggest to him that he rearrange the steps into the proper order by reading the sentence again. But if I needed to give him more resources, I can send the lesson home as a link or a PDF. I can zoom in on our challenge cards, which you're only going to see this in the itty bitty screen right now, but some of you are familiar with our challenge cards. It'll tell you which challenge cards are specific to this task. Our online lessons are linked here as well, so you can get more practice with our online lessons. The concepts that they're working on, some cross-curricular ideas, and of course the computational thinking skills that they're working on at this point in time. All this is available for each and every lesson, whether the student has attempted it, completed it, or you as the instructor saying, you know what, next week we're doing the ticking time bomb. I am going to open up this lesson and see what I am up against. Okay, we're working with variables. You know, if I'm working with variables at this point, that might be something new to me. So I'm going to practice a little bit. I have the solution here, so I know what I'm doing. Here's the challenge cards we can do more practice with, some more lessons that I can add into this. If this is going to be a whole week where we're working on variables, which might be a good idea because they take some time to learn, you know, I can focus in on that, get ahead of the students, plan my day, plan my my curriculum out and my lessons out well ahead of time. So it serves that purpose as well. I see in the question how many students can be in a class. We consider a classroom 35 students, but we have, you know, every different configuration you can think of. We have folks working with smaller number of students. We have folks who have several classrooms in this pull down menu. I have but one, but we have a lot of technology instructors who might have 8 or 9 different classrooms because they're working with everybody in the building at different periods of the day. And I see another question pop up and I'm going to answer that. No, you do not need to have a trial to access the Parent Kit resources. Just go to our website and type in, I'll put it, you know what, we're going to do that right now. You know what, Bree, you have that link, Home Toolkits. Throw that in the chat for everybody and that'll answer that particular question. Then I won't have to do it. So this is basically Class Connect. It allows you to set up a classroom. It allows you to connect devices to your teacher account. It allows you to track those students as they progress through not only the dash puzzles, but the dot puzzles as well if you have both robots. And there are quite a few of them. There's 74 lessons for the dash robot. There's 60 some odd puzzles for the dot robot. That's a lot of curriculum. It is all lined. It is ready to go. It lines up with CSTA standards, ISTE standards, Common Core. Everything's in there. They're going to be doing math while they're doing it. They're going to be working in small groups if you've got them in the building. They might be working individually if you have them in the building. But if you don't have them in the building, that's where things get a little bit trickier. So I'm going to go back to my presentation for a moment here, and I'll go back into present mode. Okay, so, you know, what we're, and I'm not going to play this video, I'm going to pause it. What we were looking at this point was basically, how do we substitute for the robot not being in the kids' hands when they're trying to do our curriculum? What can we possibly do that, you know, would substitute for a dash or a dot robot in your hands? Dash is our most popular robot by far. Lots of kids learn how to use them. We're proud to say we have 26,000 programs running across the United States. So, you know, a lot of kids have already seen a dash robot. They're familiar with it and they like that block coding type of stuff that we run in the Blockly program. So what we needed to do is give everybody their own dash, and that's physically not possible, but virtually it is. So what we came up with is what we call Dash's Neighborhood. It's basically a 3D version of a virtual version of Dash that runs around in a little neighborhood in the Blockly app. So the block coding app, which is 80% of our downloads, you know, most people do use the Blockly app. It has a set of puzzles built into it, which is what I was just sharing with you in Class Connect. Those puzzles, if you drive the kids through them, are going to introduce the 6 basic building blocks of coding. All the tools on the robot itself, whether they're recording and playing back or using the sensors and the lights and the buttons, all that is going to be built into those lessons, and the kids are going to learn how to use the robots, and you are going to be able to track them whether they're in the building or not. And what simply happens is you get a virtual robot. So now I will show you Dash's Neighborhood instead of the video because the video is boring. So let me go back to the portal. So here I am as the teacher. I can simply launch Blockly from here, which is what I'm going to do. And I don't have a robot on currently, so the computer is going to instantly say, okay, he's obviously working virtually. So I'll just grab somebody in my classroom here and continue. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to my puzzles, because that's where we want everybody to be working, in their puzzles and working their way through the curriculum that we have set up for them. And you can see Jim here has already gone through some of the curriculum, but I'm just going to pop into the next lesson. And we're going to do interrupting robot. Okay, and what you're going to get is the 3D Dash little video of him going into one of the buildings in Dash's neighborhood and basically giving me the room and the 3D view to be able to do this lesson. Make Dash wait for your voice to speak, turn to your voice, and then make Dash say knock knock. Okay, so I've got to wait for him to speak. Well, that's simple enough. I'm just going to go to Control, and I'm going to wait for someone to speak. Okay, that's simple enough. Then I want him to turn to my voice. Okay, so turn to voice. Then I want him to say knock knock. Let's just pretend that's sound number one so I don't have to do any recording. So I would press play at this point in time if I had a physical robot, but what's going to happen is it's going to happen here in the little virtual tool off to the right hand side. The difficult part is simulating a voice or the push of a button or an obstacle being placed. Well, we get little inputs here. You can see the robot inputs in the lower right-hand corner of my screen. All I have to do is click this button to have a voice be heard, and you'll see the little voice bubble will come up in the screen here. But I'm going to push play, and now it's waiting to hear a voice. So I'm going to click Hear Voice. See the little person talking. He'll turn to the voice and then play sound one, which is, who knows what that was, but I solved that particular puzzle. So a pretty simple thing to do, but what I'm learning there is how to use the tools. And again, this is building up. I'm right in the middle of the puzzles right now. And I'm working my way through. As I'm working through these puzzles, this information is being tracked as I go along. So if I look at Jim, I just finished that particular lesson right here on interrupting robot. I can open that up, see that I got the solution correct. Took me 3 minutes, which is kind of long for this one, but I was chit-chatting while I was doing it. But here I am. This is what I accomplished, and I'm ready to move on to the next step. Do I recommend that every teacher goes through every single step as you fly around? No, absolutely not. You're going to know after the kids learn some movement and some basic lights and recording that, it's time for an activity. Put a maze down on the floor, an obstacle course, or, develop some sort of race or something like that, and break up the curriculum with some simple activities that the kids can challenge themselves with and reinforce what they're doing and show you what they're doing. Once they start to learn to move the robot in specific distances and directions, that opens up a world of possibilities. Navigate the room, have the robot do the fire exit on the way out the door, have him lead the kids out the door for a fire drill or something like that. Use maps, use the hallways in the building, use the furniture in your room and rearrange things so that the robot can work its way around. If it's a virtual challenge, well, that makes it kind of fun too. See, I can go in here and I can build my own puzzles. So if I want to create a new program, I'll just come in here, and now I have my 3D robot and I've got all my tools available. So if I just want the robot to, I don't know, let's make a simple square by doing a little loop here, right? So I'm going to build myself, a simple little loop here where, there we go, right? Come on. And one more turn. Okay, so I'm going to make a simple geometric shape, right? And that's a pretty simple thing for me to do. What I can do though is I can flip over here into camera mode. I can zoom all the way out if I want to and watch the robot do its thing here in its 3D world as I press the program. So there he goes. I'm tracking the distance that he's going. I'm watching him do his movements. So I can plot his course. I can watch it happen. I can basically do a sandbox here. I can practice my program before I show up at school and hook up to a physical robot. I can be given a set of criteria at this point to have the robot do something very specific using the grid that's built in here. This is the grid from our competition, by the way, if it looks familiar. Those of you who do the Wonder League robotics competition, this is what our mat looks like that you would be doing the competition on. So we're in preparation for that as well. We realize that not all of our competition teams are going to be able to get together to do their thing. So, we've got to prepare for virtual submissions, and this is how the kids will actually do it. So that environment allows me to, it allows you to send home a PDF of a maze, and put some measurements on it and tell the kids, I want you to write a program that'll work your way through the maze. And when you get back to school, we're going to hook it up to a physical robot. And I'll have that maze in painter's tape on the floor, and we'll see who got it right and who got it wrong. And then you debug and fix it. And it makes for an awesome lesson. And that's something simple. That's just sequences and movements with the robot moving back and forth. Our goal is that you'll do all the puzzles here, and you will learn all, everything up into conditionals and variables, and learning how to have the robot sensors react to objects around it, behind it, and things like that. That's all going to be introduced through the curriculum, which you are able to track through the portal. You are able to reset the kids' progress and unlock challenges. So I can lock the kids down, because if you don't, you're going to have a couple of kids in your class who are going to zoom through all of this in a couple of days. They're just going to go to town and ignore everything else and finish. So what we do is we lock them down. We'll take them to interrupting robot in week 1. We'll work our way to the end of robot puppy training in week 2, that sort of thing. And you have the ability to unlock and lock that for them. And, like I said, send home resources if a student gets stuck. So that is basically what we put together for our response to COVID. Was Dash's Neighborhood and Class Connect. The way we present this is with a subscription. These tools are available basically in year-long subscriptions. So a teacher success pack that you see on the left-hand side is for 1 teacher and up to 35 students. That's where we cut it off. A team teaching success pack is 2 teachers and all the students in the building. So we'll upload all your kids and put them in the system. And then the school success pack is basically designed to do your entire school, up to 25 teachers, and all the students in the building go into the system. That way, all of your kids can be working, their progress is saved. They could be doing coding 1 week in November and come back after winter break and pick up right where they left off. The kids would have access to all this at home as well through the internet, and you'd be able to track their progress. So you could send home homework, you could send home practice, you could send home assignments, and they can bring them back or submit the code to you and you can test them yourself. So it's an easy way to take our curriculum, which we love, which the kids love, we already know that, and get it home to them, whether they're in the building or not. And it'll be seamless in between. I'm going to show you one more thing here. So when I'm in Blockly and I'm making a puzzle here, let's just go to my projects, that one I just had open, there it is. Right now I've got my virtual tools. But right here on my desk, I've got a number of Dash robots. This is Simba. So I'm going to turn Simba on, and I'm going to hit the plus button in the upper right-hand corner. And I'm going to pair to my robot. And I have gone from virtual to back to regular coding. The virtual tools disappear once I connect to a physical robot, and I've picked up exactly where I left off. Didn't miss a beat here. And if for some reason I had to go back to the virtual robot, I simply click here, go back to the simulator. Simba's not happy about that, but I'll shut him off, and I'm right back to my virtual tools again. So pretty easy to go in between the two. The kids won't have any problem. Connecting a device takes about 3 steps. You need to know your teacher code that's in the portal. It's pretty easy to do. This is how you get your kids' devices connected. It's a very simple process from the Blockly main screen. If I went back to here, and I can disconnect this device. I can use the device profiles, or more importantly, I can access my classroom. If for any reason I needed to connect another device, I would simply send, it's a little note that comes to you, a ping that you get, you're alerted to it, and you okay the device. And that, I believe, is the end of my presentation. So now we open up things for the fun part, questions and comments, and I get to look in the Q&A and things like that. And I can stop sharing as well. Or am I supposed to go back to the other slide?
Yep, you're good. All right, so yeah, it looks like we had quite a bit going on in the chat, so which is awesome. Thank you everybody for being so active. So looks like Cynthia had a pretty good question. Wants to know if there's a way students could virtually create their own path or items in the neighborhood. For example, if they're going to code Dash to move through a food chain, or can they virtually create the food chain?
First of all, awesome idea, Cynthia. That's cool. I like that. Food chain's a good one. Not yet will be the answer to that. We fast tracked getting the competition mat as the floor, but that system has been developed. So that size PDF being placed into Dash's world is available to do. Our goal is to allow you to put what you want on the floor in there at some point in time. We're also experimenting with objects. Right now, they're just cubes and pyramids and spheres, but they're bright blue and you can move them around on the map, so you'll have things to navigate around. That's coming. But again, realize this was a project that was supposed to come out in like 2022, and it got fast tracked for COVID. So our engineers have pretty much dropped everything and they're working on this full force. And what they've accomplished in a short period of time is nothing short of miraculous. I'm so impressed with them because when they showed us the very first versions of this, we were like, yeah, that's not going to cut it, you guys. And then they showed us the final version. It was like, wow, okay, blew us away. So they're capable of doing this kind of work, and that type of interaction is coming. You're going to be able to do much more. They even want to put the ball launcher and some of the accessories into the 3D world, which is going to be really cool. So stay tuned on that. But a very good question. And Jamie said she crashed. Is this only available for subscription? The answer to that is yes. We do ask you to maintain a subscription. The subscription comes with more than just the virtual tools. It's obviously going to put you into our, mailing list and on our, you're going to get information coming from us left and right. But they're also giving you access to our professional development SKU. When you purchase something like this, you also have access to our cross-curricular library, which is, 131 lessons right now that are online. They vary by age levels and experience levels, and even the robot and equipment, but that's available to you as well. So that with that subscription, you have access to everything that we put on the internet that's behind our little firewall. So that's what the subscription brings you. The virtual tools are probably going to be the most important part of that. Let's see. Boy, you guys weren't kidding. There are a lot of questions in here.
Yeah, it looks like in the Q&A, I saw you answered already how many students in a class, 35.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Looks like you might have answered these already. Do I have a start to a free trial for parent kit resources? No.
Let's see.
No. Shared that link.
Don't need a free trial, but Charmaine, your question is, you signed up for Class Connect, never got to try it because of COVID, and obviously it's expired by now. Okay, why don't you send me an email? I'm gonna put my email address in here for everybody. I don't care, you guys can email me anytime you want. Happy to answer questions. Why don't you send me an email, Charmaine, with whatever email, I'll assume it's the email that you're currently using, but whatever email you had set up with Class Connect, and just reiterate what you put in your question there, and I'll have the folks at headquarters to turn that on for a fresh 30 days for you. Give me a date when you want to start, and we'll start it over for you. Okay. Let's see, what else? A virtual ball launcher would be awesome. Yes, it would be. If they pull that off, I'm going to be thoroughly impressed. And, the world itself is awesome. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to share my screen again. Let's go back to share screen, and I'll pop back here. And then I'm going to go back to my virtual world here. When you're like running around in the environment, let me go back here, make this, everything's in my way on my little screen here. Okay, as I'm running around, wait, I want to turn off that. Okay, there are objects in here that you can interact with. If I stand in front of the goat, somewhere in front of the goat, something moves. If you stand on the little pads here, there, if I stand on the pad, something paints the goat. There you go. If I stand on this pad, one of them makes the sirens in the house go off. Here, this pad over here makes the sirens launch. And I'm just driving around with the keys on my keyboard right now. I don't know how well it's following me. It's probably going to freeze up on me, isn't it? Yeah. But if I go to the different spots on the board, I am able to see more of Dash's world. I can explore a little bit more. I can have some fun with it. So we encourage the kids to run around and try some things and explore a little bit more and see what else you can find. They tell me there's 13 little Easter eggs in here. I found 2. So, get in there and take a look at it. And this is all free of charge if you want to go in there and take a peek. So run around in there with a free trial and check it out. That might certainly help answer a lot of your questions. Okay. There, I showed them an Easter egg.
Awesome. Yeah, and I crashed a little bit earlier, so I'm not sure if you got to this question or not. Looks like Angela asked, are these kits appropriate for intermediate students? And I was in the middle of typing my answer.
I wouldn't say no to that. We have some teachers who use Q at the middle school level. And, obviously when COVID hit, they were in kind of a bind and they were calling us saying, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I introduced the virtual tools to our junior high teachers, our middle school teachers, and said, this is what we have right now. And they were like, you know what, that's fine. I can do what I need to do with this. So, I'm going to make it really hard and I'm going to force the kids into writing some pretty long programs, but at least I can reach them at home. So is it appropriate for your older students? Yeah. Turn up the rigor a little bit, make the challenges a little more difficult, introduce the curriculum as hey, this is a basic review of coding 101. You guys should be able to do this in 15 minutes. And once you're done with the basics, I'm going to give you something difficult to do, and then turn them loose, give them something really hard to try. And, turning up the rigor, you can challenge your older kids. Hopefully that answers the question.
That was much more in depth than the answer I was typing. So thank you.
Easier. It's much easier than typing. I don't type fast enough as I talk. That's for sure. Let's see. I'm looking through this now if there's any other questions.
Let's see. How many students does the trial cover? I'm assuming 35 as well.
35. If you need a trial that requires more than 35, hit my email there or contact Maker Maven and tell them, hey, I got 50 kids. I want to see if it'll work with 50 kids. We'll open that up for you. They want you to be able to use it. 35 is just the number that we rounded up to.
Yep, and I'll cover some of the contact information here in a little bit, but for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and pop my email address in the chat as well.
There you go.
So don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Answered. And if you got questions after this, you guys, I know it's being recorded and I'm sure Matt will make it available again, but, reach out to somebody. The only bad question is the one you don't ask. So, just let us know what you need and we're willing to help out. But doing the free trial and setting up a classroom and going through it, if you decide to purchase at that point, we will take your free trial, roll it right into a paid subscription, and there will be no downtime. Your kids will just pick up right where they left off after your free trial expires. Once in a while you'll get that free trial and your administration is going to be like, well, we have to wait for a grant or we have to contact somebody, tell us what's going on. If it's going to be another 2 weeks, if it's going to be another month, it's software. We can do that. We can help you out with that and prepare for when you need to be prepared. So 30 days goes by quick. Dash's Neighborhood is housed within Class Connect. Dash's Neighborhood is housed within the Blockly app, Charmaine. Class Connect is your learning management system for tracking the students as they go through the Blockly puzzles and challenges. So Class Connect is for the teachers. Dash's Neighborhood is for your students.
Very good. And Lana, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. So she wanted to know the connection between Wonder Workshop and Maker Maven. So that's a good question. Thank you. So like I said, we started our business back in 2016. And back then we were putting straws and paper clips and tongue depressors and baggies and creating our own content, and getting it out to educators for STEM and STEAM education. And, trying to spread the, word of mouth, getting small booths at trade shows, talking to people. And just so happened, Tim was one of the great people that we ended up speaking to at these trade shows and started seeing each other over and over and talking more and more. So we ended up building a good relationship with Wonder Workshop and a lot of the people on their team. So we ended up deciding to partner together where we're able to provide Wonder Workshop's great tools and platforms like the Dash, the Q, the Classroom Packs, the Class Connect, and all of those great resources that Tim showed today. So it's truly a working relationship. I know you see a lot of people that sell things. We truly try to have an actual relationship with the people we work with. So,
Yes.
and I know like I said, we see Tim all over the place, and it's always
Matt's
great to
right.
see you.
We as a company look for folks who are going to help us put the word out. We look for companies that are doing more than just slapping our stuff into their little catalog. We want, that's what impressed me when I first met Matt and his wife at TCA, that you guys were doing what the teachers needed to have done. Building kits for them. Here you go. Here's everything you could possibly need. We put it in a box that you can store on a shelf, and we're going to send it to you, and you're going to have everything you need to do STEM activities with your kids. I thought that was awesome. And I thought if I had all these tools and a Dash robot, what I would be able to do in a classroom with my students, it would be endless. Give me the straws and the tongue depressors and things like that. We'll be building bridges. We'll be making, lances and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So that's what impressed me most about what it is that they do. They think outside the box. It's in the box, but you know what I mean. They're going to give you activities to do. They're going to give you ideas that you wouldn't ordinarily think of, and they're going to expand what you're capable of doing as far as STEAM and STEM activities go in your classroom. And I continue to see it. If you're on their mailing list like I am, if you watch their webinars like I do, you realize how many tools they have at their fingertips and how they can help you in a lot of different ways. So that's our relationship with the folks at Maker Maven. They're awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Tim. It's like I said, it's been great getting to know everybody on a personal level beyond just doing business. So we greatly appreciate this relationship. Just so happens we have a question here from oh my goodness, all these names I cannot pronounce. Charmaine.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Charmaine here. Dash's neighborhood is housed within Class Connect, and yes.
I explained that. It's housed within the Blockly app. Class Connect is your teacher platform. She also asked, is it appropriate for kindergarten through the 5th grade? Correct. Yes, the Dash robot, everything that I was showing you today is basically K to 5. But I say that loosely. If you have preschoolers who are able to handle a device, you can put Blockly in front of them and explain it a little bit and just get out of the way because they will handle it. If you have 6th and 7th and 8th graders who haven't done this kind of work before are looking for a challenge, yeah, put them in front of the app, show them what the robot can do, and then really turn it up a notch. Make the obstacle course that nobody's ever going to solve. Make a maze with curves and angled lines in it and obstacles. I had a group of 7th graders. I wanted the top speed of a Dash robot. So, we measured distance, we did some calculations, we used a stopwatch, and they came back to me and they said, here's the top speed. I forget what it was, a couple miles an hour. I said, is that the top speed? They're like, can you make it go faster? I said, I don't know, can you? And they started stacking up furniture. They were building ramps. They went completely overboard. I'm like, there you go. Now you're talking. That's what a 7th grader and 8th grader is going to do when they get a hold of a robot. Build on that. Just make it more difficult for them. They will figure it out. So good questions. There's somebody saying her 13-year-old loves Dash and Dot. Yeah, I know. My teenagers, my daughter came down here earlier and I got stuff set up on the floor that I'm goofing around with for the weekend. And she's like, oh, the robots are out. She's in high school, she loves them. They're very infectious, no doubt about it. And yes, a 2-year-old grandson, yeah, you're looking for a nice Christmas gift. Those of you who are going to be shopping, call Maker Maven and tell them you want a robot delivered to a grandchild. They make awesome gifts. They're very educational and, practically indestructible. You can't really break a Dash robot. We've got videos of them being thrown out a 3rd floor window at work. So, yeah. Does it have an immersive reader available? I am on an ESL campus. An immersive reader. I don't know what an immersive reader is. I'm trying to think of what that would be. The robot speaks other languages. If you flip your device to Espanol, Mandarin Chinese, German, French, if your device flips over to that language, the robot will flip over to that language.
It doesn't read words. So is that a 504 compliance
Oh,
question you have, Charmaine?
no, that it will not do. That is something we haven't figured out yet. We are actually working with a school for the deaf and blind they're in Alabama, and it doesn't read for them, Charmaine. It won't do that. We're working on that. That's a tricky thing to do because the Blockly was developed a long time ago. It's old code. So it's harder to update. Q will probably react to voices and voice commands before Dash will. There you go. Yes, you can speak different languages. So there's a list of, what is it? I think it's 6: German, French, Mandarin Chinese. What else? German, French, Mandarin Chinese. Oh, Spanish, English, and there's one other one. It's on our website somewhere. Might be, I don't know. There's another one, but yes, you can. Immersive Reader was developed by Microsoft. I think I know what it is now. Yeah, ours does not work with that yet. The main difference between Dash and Q, well, from an aesthetic standpoint, they're pretty much the same robots as far as size and weight and everything like that. Q's actually got a bigger brain in them, bigger chip for the memory. So Dash does everything in segments, moves forward 50, turns left, changes the color of its lights. Everything happens in a segment. Q can move its head around, change the color of its lights, and move all at the same time. So it's got a bigger processor in it. Where the magic is the difference between the two apps. The Q app is more robust. It's designed for middle schoolers, so basically 11 years old and up. The vocabulary is higher. The challenges are much more difficult. I could count on my hand the number of employees in our office who have finished all the challenges for this guy, and I'm not one of them because they get hard after a while. But his program is designed to take the kids from block coding all the way to JavaScript. So it starts at a higher level. We assume they have some coding experience before they get ready to work with Q. But in the long run, you're going to be doing JavaScript, and the curriculum's designed for that. So, K to 5 here, 6 to 8 here. Hopefully that answers that question. Q has an attitude. Yes, Lana is right about that. Q has 4 different voice modes in it. And we had voice actors in Hollywood do that kind of work for us. So each one of the modes has like 100,000 word vocabulary. And yeah, they can be kind of snarky. They're for middle schoolers, they've got to cater to their audience. So they'll yawn if you're not doing something, in a timely fashion. They'll giggle at you. They'll tell you a joke and things like that. Very interactive. And yes, attitude, a lot of attitude.
You got to match that intensity of the middle schoolers.
Bingo.
They're starting to develop a little bit of that funky personality that they
just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I work with middle schoolers at my church. They are 100% attitude. That's their whole deal. And I get it. And yeah, you can explore the different personalities in Q. We say it's for the middle schoolers. That being said, if you had a thriving Dash and Dot program at your elementary school and the kids were being exposed to it in the kindergarten, by the time they get to the 3rd or 4th grade, they're going to top out what you're doing with this guy. So, 5th graders get to use the Q robot. Your gifted kids get to use your Q robot. Put it in front of them. You'd be surprised. The first day I got them, I had a 2nd grade class on a Saturday morning, and I got them on a Friday afternoon, and I didn't care. I'm like, you know what? They're 2nd graders. I don't care. Let's see what the robot will do. They figured it out. They didn't get as far as I thought they would, but they figured it out.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about it is they're not afraid to jump right in. So
no,
they'll dive right in. Who needs an instruction manual? I'll figure it out.
Give me the device. I'll take it from here. That's how they go. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Get all the questions. This is fantastic. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, Kelly. I think, what we're trying to teach these kids is to not give up, to keep doing it until you get it right. And they don't. I work with kids all the time. The hardest part is pulling them away from it in the long run. When I train my teachers, I tell them you should do your robotics time before lunch, before recess, or before you put the kids on the bus. One of those 3, because you can't go from this to quiet reading time or math problems or something like that. The kids get all amped up. They're into it. They're having fun with it. And you really got to pull them away from it before they're going to want to go do something else. Lunch, that usually gets them away from it, something like that.
Perfect. So do we have any other questions for now? This has been great. A lot of activity in the chat. Thank you everybody for being so engaged.
Very good observation, Lana. Yeah, the difference between a math problem and working with Dash is, yeah, there's no wrong answer with Dash. I like to tell the kids a good engineer is lucky if he's right once or twice a year. You know, it's their job to be wrong. It's their job to try and break it. It's their job to fail over and over and over again. And engineers make a lot of money to be wrong all the time. So, you know, that's part of it. And the kids learn that pretty quickly, and they don't get upset. They don't, you know, nobody gets angry when the robot doesn't do what they wanted it to do, because they know it was on them. Oh, I went the wrong way. I should have gone left when I went right. And they know how to fix it. And they even smile when it happens. It's pretty cool. Did you say how many I would need for a class of 25? Okay. What we envision in a normal classroom is the kids working in groups of 3. What that looks like is pretty simple. Somebody's got to run the device, whether it's a Chromebook, a computer, iPad, whatever you got. Somebody's got to drive, right? They've got to be the person putting the code in. Somebody's got to be on their hands and knees with the robot on the floor, resetting your obstacles, making sure he starts from the same point. So we call that person the handler. Your third person's your recorder, whether they're on worksheet duty, whether they're videotaping, whether they are measuring, whatever it's going to be. That team of 3 students gets 1 robot and 1 device, and you set them loose on whatever set of criteria you got for them for that day. If, however, you're in quarantine type of mode and you're social distancing and everything like that, makes it a little bit trickier, then you probably got to have the kids working one-on-one with the robots, which kind of cuts down on the time that they're accessible, because not everybody has enough for every kid in the room. That's where the virtual tools come in handy. Kids can be working virtually while some kids are working with the physical robots, and they switch at some point in time or at some point during the week. So if I had 25 students in a room, I would want 8 robots, maybe 9, and they would be working in groups of 3. And I would have a spare that was always charged for me, the teacher, to run around and do goofy things with.
Very good. All right,
Okay.
perfect. All right, everybody. Well, if you have any more questions in the chat, please keep popping them in there, but I'm going to go ahead and move ahead right now. Again, I want to thank Tim for joining us today. He showed us a lot of great things, a lot of really cool ways you can use Dash virtually as well. A lot of great information with everything that across the whole Wonder Workshop spectrum of products and platforms as well. So Tim, again, thank you so much. If you haven't already, follow Wonder Workshop on Twitter. That's @WonderWorkshop. We are so excited to have you here today. We couldn't be more appreciative of you taking some time out of your afternoon to join us. And here, I would also like to announce our winner today. So our winner is going to have the option to receive either a Q or a Dash robot, depending on what grade level you're working at right now. So that is Charmaine McMillan. Congratulations for winning. You were awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on social media and being in our mentions there. So Charmaine, I'm going to go ahead and pop my email address in the chat one more time. So please shoot me an email with your shipping instructions, and I will make sure we get that out to you as soon as we can. Make sure I type my email correctly. Perfect. So congratulations, Charmaine. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
So there's three key points that I kind of want to go over here. Just touch on a few things that Tim discussed. So students and teachers need our help now more than ever, which, that still may be an understatement, just with how things are so drastically changing, not only with the crazy world of politics, but also COVID, distance learning, hybrid learning, or however you're going about teaching our students. Wonder Workshop has produced the tools that schools need to continue their coding journey in a hybrid environment. So again, very helpful with what we're kind of dealing with as a whole right now. And Wonder Workshop is developing new curriculum to add to their aligned content. So maybe you will see that ball launcher virtually here soon, or maybe building that custom food pyramid there in the neighborhood. So maybe they're always innovating and doing great things. So I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen some of those things come to fruition here in the future. So again, I want to thank everybody so much for joining us today. yeah, as I stated at the beginning, so I am Matt from Maker Maven. So we are your full service STEM, STEAM, maker education company, whichever acronym verbiage you're using, we're here to help. So whether that's you need stuff, we're here to help. If you have stuff and need resources or ideas, we're here for you. Or if you're just looking to discuss and see what you might want to do in the future, we're here for you. So don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time at orders@makermaven.net or info@makermaven.net. Feel free to give us a call Monday through Friday. Our phones are open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central. That's 877-MAKER-75 or 877-625-3775. If you have your device on you right now, if you scan that little QR code on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, that'll take you to our digital catalog. So we try to keep that updated live. So anytime we add new products, so if there's a sale going on, a special educator sale for one of the Wonder Workshop products, we'll update that live. So a great thing to do is to scan that QR code, bookmark it, so you don't have to go through and sift through the website or wait on any paper catalogs, because with technology, as soon as we print them, they're pretty much out of date. So things are always changing and innovating so fast. So we encourage you to take a look at that. So don't forget about our future webinars as well. We have a few great ones left for the 2020 year. I think we have 3 left. Our next one is on Tuesday at a little bit different time, a little bit earlier, because we're trying to keep in mind for the holiday vacation coming up. So we know you're gonna have a lot on your minds as we're getting ready for the Thanksgiving holiday break. So it's gonna be with Strawbees at 2:30 Central on Tuesday. So I know Bree's dropping a link in the chat. Don't hesitate to sign up for that one right away. That one's gonna be a lot of fun. Our blog, where we do the free STEM challenges monthly. So those are always a great way to find good resources to add to your classroom, your library, or even for your students to do at home. All of our STEM challenges come with some great worksheets that they can fill out and either bring back to school or share virtually. Always free items you can get around the home or the school, never anything you need to purchase from us. And I know we've plugged it a lot on our social media at maker_maven. Give us a like and a follow. We always try to put as much good content out there as we can. And our YouTube channel, which is brand new, where we're going to be hosting the recordings of all of these webinar sessions. So please, if you have a YouTube account, which I'm sure all of you do, give us a subscribe and a like. And if you click the little bell there, it'll give you notifications. So if by chance you miss one of these live webinars, it'll let you know as soon as we upload those webinars to YouTube, so you can go through and see what's new, what you may have missed. Or if you did catch it live and you want to go back and say, oh, I remember Tim said something really cool, but what was it? You could just pop open that recording and go back and see that information that you might have missed or you wanted to make sure of. But that's all I have for everybody today. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. It seems like all of our attendees had a great time and learned a lot. Really active chat today. So thank you all the attendees for your participation. So that's it. If anybody has any other questions, we're going to be hanging out here for another couple minutes. Go ahead and drop them in the chat. But if not, have a good evening, have a good weekend. And if we don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a good Thanksgiving.
Thanks, everybody. Most appreciated. Guys, be safe. Take care of yourselves.